Well, good evening. This is Conscious Gatherers, and today's date is October the 4th, 2022. And my name is Beverly Thompson, and I'm here with AJ Royce.
Hello.
Hey, well, welcome everybody. Tonight's episode is number 78, and as always, we have lots to share with you, and some of it may challenge you a little bit, but I think we do that a lot. And but the things that, of course, that has come up of late, and so some of the things we're going to talk about tonight is the hurricane, the consciousness of the hurricane, and we have a few things to share there, and Royce has a lot to share there. So it's I find it very interesting in that basically everything has consciousness. And then we're going to get into a little bit more of without going into any details of what's going on in the world, but the turmoil, and then into the word trust, and a lot to come on that, and I think you'll find it very interesting. So, are you ready to get it going?
Sure.
All right. Well, yay. Okay, we're going to start out with a hurricane. And we went through, we live in South Carolina, and so we did, but on the northwestern side of the state. And so, yes, we were hit here by high winds and actually a little bit of rain, which we need badly.
Yeah.
But the hurricane seemed to, as it hit, went through Florida, the Atlantic Ocean, and then it hit our East Coast, and especially hit hard with Myrtle Beach. Quite a bit of flooding there up into North Carolina. So not as much came here to where we're at. But tuning in to the hurricane and what Royce had to share with me, I was like, what? And so I've learned a lot in the last few days because of this. And yes, we feel for those that have lost their homes, lost their land, and many, quite a few have lost their lives too. So extend our light and love to all of those that have been affected deeply, and we pick ourselves up and we keep going. So I'm going to let Royce, I'm going to let you take over and talk about what happened to you, if you want to go back to when you first noticed that a hurricane had consciousness.
Yes, I lived at another house in Greenville, actually, and there was a hurricane that was going to come right over us. And so all through the night while this thing is going over, I mean, the winds were horrendous, actually, and I had a lot of big trees with limbs over the house, so I was fretting it a bit. But I got into this place where I felt myself becoming one with the storm itself. It was like my consciousness raised up to meet the clouds, and I've just felt so much love for the storm, and I could feel and sense how much consciousness there was there. I mean, it was just tremendous. Here was all of this wind and all of this rain, and things were whipping around all over the place, but the consciousness was just, it was really beyond what I could put into words. It was a lot more than what I would have ever expected, had never considered it before. So I spent that night merged with the storm and just sharing that feeling of intense love with it. And the next morning, after the storm had passed, I finally laid down to go to sleep, and as I did, I heard audibly this voice that seemed to come from everywhere. And what was said was, "Thank you." and I knew it was the storm speaking to me. It had actually been recognized as being a conscious being. And it was just quite overwhelming to me. And so when this storm that they called Ian was coming into Florida, Bev and I were on the telephone, and she was sharing with me some of the things that people were doing to try to get the storm to move or to slow down or lessen in strength.
Including myself, by the way.
Yeah. And I remembered how I'd connected with that other hurricane, and I said, no, this is mankind's way of trying to manipulate something, and that seems to be what mankind does, try to make something fit into our way of looking at things. And with the storm being a conscious being itself, I knew that I couldn't connect with it that way. And so I was talking with Bev about how much love that I had for the storm and how I was aware that it was conscious, and started speaking with the storm just like it was a dear friend, telling it how much I loved it and how much I appreciated it for the fact that it had a job to do, and me not knowing the extent of what that was. And so just loving it, and was speaking to it about being aware that it had choices to make. And just because it may be on a certain trajectory didn't mean that it couldn't change its mind if it wanted to. And so I was just talking.
You were talking. I mean, do you mind if I?
No,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because I'm like, whoa, so, I was trying to work with the wind shear, and so there would be less damage, and saying, hey, there's people that can get hurt, and property, etc. And then Roy says, are you trying to manipulate it? And I said, yeah. So, and then she told me what she just explained to you. And I said, well, the storm actually is being manipulated, I think, using the HAARP technologies. And I think many of you know what that is. It's HAARP. So there are technologies out there that can manipulate weather, and it's usually for nefarious means, but not all. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to let you take over from there.
Yeah, so I was just expressing to it that I knew that it could change that if it so desired, using the consciousness that it had. So I just had to let it go after that. Just loved it and let it go, and expressed, that it was going to be going over where people and animals were, and that I was asking it to please be mindful of that. And so let it go after that. And you all know the story of what happened with Florida. Now, did me and everybody else connecting with the consciousness of the storm, did that affect it? Did that lessen it? It may have. It could have been a whole lot worse, even though it was quite intense. So did it cause it to move a bit so that it didn't go straight up the coastline, wiping everything out? Maybe. I can't answer that. That's the storm knows that. So all I can tell you is that I connected it with it the way that I did, and when it was coming toward us, the first clouds that I saw had a very distinct and perfect sign of the ohm, OHM. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh man, it just hit me in the heart, you know. But the symbol itself was turned around as if that which was above would look down through the ohm as it looked toward the ground. And so that was like a blessing for the ground. The ohm is a Sanskrit symbol, and it stands for primal sound, and it's believed that God created sound first, and therefore the ohm is the seed sound of creation, with the universe, the gods, all the matter, and all of that coming from the sound ohm. So it was quite a powerful symbol to see, and it just meant a lot to me personally.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. When we were talking, we were literally talking to the storm. We were both on the phone, and the storm admitted it was being manipulated.
Yes, and it said its name was not Ian.
Yeah, name was not Ian.
And I said, would it be okay if I called you beautiful? And it said yes.
Yeah, it did. And we were saying you have free, I'm trying to remember our conversation, but asking you have free will. And
the right to change your mind, to make different choices.
Yes, yes. And so we're telling, yes, you do. You know, you don't have to play the manipulation game.
Yeah.
Not the word that we used.
Yeah, but that was the meaning of it.
Yes, yeah. So, and then we let it, do its thing, and just kind of watched,
Yeah.
So it was a different experience. It was my first time I've talked to a storm like that, and got the answers, and for the storm, and so this consciousness went into that storm, just like consciousness will go into our bodies. That became the vessel for it, so to speak, and we're the vessel for our consciousness. So in this lifetime, so it was mind opening for me. Yeah. So
and it was a precious experience for me.
Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, it's very interesting. So other storms, we're going to start looking at storms a lot differently, and to, we're synchronistic with Mother Earth, and Lady Gaia is what I call her, and many people are now referring to her as Terra, in the higher dimensions. But for me, it doesn't make any difference. But I still call her Lady Gaia, mainly because that's what I was given for my writings, my books. But we have that. We're here sharing her body, this earth, and so she needs us as we need her. And she has the ability to clean her own body, by the way. And we think we're poisoning the earth. It doesn't mean we're not, but she does have the means to shake off what no longer is for her highest good. So
yeah.
All right. All right, anything else you want to say about that?
No.
All right. Well, tuning in today, I'm going to share just a few things, because we all know there's a lot going on this earth, and obviously in the United States, Ukraine, Taiwan, China, Russia, everywhere. Italy has a new government. There are just all kinds of things going on, a lot of changes going on, and it's just like, wow. A lot of governments have been stepping down these last few months, and then other so-called governments are coming in. And so a lot of changes are going on. So anyway, today, here's some of the words that I received, and I'm just going to share them with you. All right. The coming turmoil will be quickly understood. So I went quickly. And what does that mean in time? But anyway, what I received, and I'm going to keep going on that because I did question that. And I think our last episode, I mentioned the questioning things that we get. So yes, I still do that. What does quickly mean? But anyway, I didn't get an answer on that one. But anyway, to continue, what will seemingly be a threat is not a threat at all. Your or humanity's reaction will foretell the richness of what is to come as you open up. Right now, you may feel squashed, yet soon it will feel as if your wings have sprouted. All deceit will be displayed openly. It is up to you what you plan to do about it. Hold those accountable for their wrongdoings. Then what? That's a biggie. Then what?
Yeah, big question.
Yeah. Let go, breathe, for a new day is upon you. This indeed is becoming a new world. Freedom will take on a new meaning. Hold on. Allow those who need to digest just what they see happening may not be in line with what they believed and trusted from the government officials, media, and those who spout what they feel is truth and just. It's okay to feel betrayed. It's all a part of the process to open up to your own truth. Love, light, peace, and joy.
All right.
All right. Well, go ahead and share what you received also.
Okay. Our forefathers celebrated societies which were founded upon trust, and for very good reason. These societies were often viewed as being secret, but that's what it looked like from the outside. From the inside, it was something a bit more important than that. Our forefathers stuck their necks out for a future they could see in their mind's eye, a future where we could all be free. They had to know that they could trust those people standing beside them, for without trust, their very lives were on the line. They were in danger. Does this sound familiar at all? We all know that history repeats itself. During meditation today, I wrote a little something about the word trust. Trust is like a swan, long before the song, taken under wing and nurtured to become as solid as the stone. Many long to hold her, this beautiful winged light. Many long to be her, guided by mighty throngs. To trust is to know without question what the moment holds. To trust is to feel without waver what the future knows. And this, it goes without saying, that to trust is to receive a mighty gift given without expecting, without strings attached, but as solid as the stone. And so to trust is to be blessed from one to another, from within unto the outer, from here unto eternity, which is without an end. Trust yourself. Trust one who trusts another, who trusts the new beginning upon which we all stand, the mighty, the brave, the free.
Thank you.
certainly.
Okay. Wow. The mighty, the brave, and the free. No. The new world.
That's right.
Yeah.
New beginning.
New beginning. It reminds me of what we have talked about on, I think, the last 2 episodes, and about Lady Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
She stood in the center of the United States, and, her height was the width of the country.
Yeah.
And I do feel those of you that are listening that don't live in the United States, but it's the world. It's the whole world. And things are changing, even though we look at some things that are going on like, what? And, what do you believe? All of that stuff is coming up because, we hear so many different things. But Lady Liberty is standing up, and we shared what the words were on her scroll. And that was in late August when we got that information. So it says to me that a lot of things have gone on behind the scenes and now coming more to the forefront. I think you even use that word in your writing today, to where we can start seeing it. I think a lot of it's played out, but it's still playing out for us to realize, who we are. Really, it comes down to that, or up to that. Maybe that's a better word of saying up to that. So, we're coming to an understanding of what reality is versus our perceived reality. And we did a whole episode on you believe what you perceive, and now that's being challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier I mentioned about being betrayed, and some of us may feel that, feeling of being betrayed, like, we've been lied to.
The whole paradigm has to change. If everything is raising in vibration, nothing can stay the same. It has to raise as well. That means change.
Mm-hmm. And those of you that have problems with change,
hold on.
Hold on. Yeah. Because it's going to be wonderful, once we get through all of this. But it's up to each and every one of us to do what's best for us. And, and what's best for us can be what's best for another person. And that means not harming ourselves or in harming another, obviously. So, and that means physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Yeah.
All of that. So, our beliefs are being shaken, and our understandings are being expanded. So you're going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to interject something kind of humorous. Our dear friend Jan, who's on the other side, she was the leader of a lot of spiritual
festivals.
Yes, festivals. Thank you. I was looking for that word. Spiritual festivals in our area. But a few months ago, I was on my way here, as a matter of fact, and she came through, and what she had to say was kind of odd. It kind of shook me a bit, because she said, "I hope you're ready." And that was it. I was like, "Can't you give me any more?"
I hope you're ready.
So I'm getting a taste of what it is she was referring to, because everything is changing.
Everything is changing. Yeah. So to me, it's very, very exciting. So it's like, And by the way, you're talking about Jan. We were talking earlier today, and we considering doing this on our next episode, because it's right before Halloween, and I'm really not too much into Halloween. It's some of the cute trick-or-treaters, of course.
Yeah.
And the pumpkins and all of that I love. But anyway, we've had lots of communications with those that have transitioned.
Yeah.
And like Jan, who says, "I hope you are ready." And so we thought we would share, we're talking about sharing some of those things with you,
yeah,
as what we have seen and heard through services, funeral or so-called funeral services, or what do you call it? Life celebration of life, memorial services, yes, all of that. So, so the next episode we'll bring in some of that, and actually it's all in fun, and what we've seen is
it's serious, whoa. but it's in fun.
It's in fun, yeah. So that's all I'm going to say right now. Otherwise, I'll go too far into it, and we're going to save that for next time. But just know who can you trust, and from what you said. And use that gut feel that you have, because that is built within you, and it's time to start trusting that feeling that you have. Yeah.
But first you have to trust yourself. If you can't trust yourself, then it's time for some serious questions, self-questions. So if you don't, then there are ways that you can get back in touch with yourself so that you can trust yourself. So do you have anything that you'd like to add on that?
Well, I'd like you to expand on that.
Yeah, well, I would like to be able to think of something. And it's funny when it's like that deer in the headlights thing, it's like, oh no. What am I going to say next?
Well, one thing is, if you have a question, what is it? And we talked about our past lives, or what we perceive as our past lives. Talk about perception, because that's a whole nother could be another episode, and that is the merging timelines, the crossing timelines, and how one timeline was erased. I went, what? And how can we erase a timeline, because it looks like one timeline will spill over into another, and when I say spill over, it'll affect another timeline, which affects another timeline. And, it gets like, what? And so a lot of this timeline stuff has been coming up for us, but to fully explain it, I really can't yet.
Yeah, we make stabs at it.
Yes.
That's what you can do.
A lot of questions come up. So if you have those questions, write them down. And then just tune into yourself, your God self, your source self.
Yeah, and first you have to be quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet yourself. If you're in a very loud situation, then try to find someplace quiet where you can be, even in a closet, just someplace by yourself,
However, there's times when you're in a crowd, and then something will come to you.
Yes.
And you're like, whoa.
Yes, but if you've lost that,
yes,
then a way to it's like starting back at point zero. By myself.
By yourself. Be quiet.
And then grow from that.
Pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what comes to you. And talked about, do you question, do you trust what's even coming to you? Yeah, I still question a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's answered.
Yeah, pay attention to that gut feeling when you receive something. If your gut tightens, then you might want to think twice about absorbing that.
Mm-hmm. And you can continue asking, and then it's always going to be answered.
Yeah, definitely. The seeker gets his answers.
What's that biblical passage? And I'm not a biblical person, but was be still and know that I am God. And so, what does that say? I am. That's you, each of us, as part of
the I am.
The I am, the source, God, whatever words you want to use. So it's all of that. So that's talking about expansion, and that's exactly how you start to learn to trust yourself. So started that conversation. So and those of you talk about homework, but it's homework for all of us, because we are expanding and to trust that gut feel. Yeah. And sometimes we're in what we call third reality. I'm going back to normal third reality stuff, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And or is that a part of what you call fourth-fifth density.
Well, that's when your consciousness wasn't as expanded as when you perceive the fourth and fifth dimension. You know, it's like going back in time. That's the best way that I can express it.
Yeah, I guess it's less expansive in nature, and that's what's happening with us, and that's exactly what this so-called fifth dimensional reality is. And that is working on a so-called higher frequency. And so, our bodies are adjusting, and they continue to adjust. So you might feel spacey, which we did today. I was asking Royce as she came here, and I said, "How are you feeling?" She was a little floaty. I said, "Yeah, I'm a lot floaty." So anyway. That is happening, and so allow our bodies to adjust and treat your bodies with love.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot to love about these beautiful fleshy mechanisms that we call bodies. They get us around from point A to point B, sometimes with a little bit of help, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and it's again paying attention to those bodies, and they'll leave you telltale signs.
Yeah.
And if you ignore it long enough, then the signs become a little bit more
intense.
Yeah. I've been there. I still am. I'm very stubborn when it comes to that sort of thing, so I admit it. And then eventually I say, okay, yeah, maybe I better do this.
Yeah, and at the same time, we're kind of walking that fine line. We're trying to be creative beings and create better health, and at the same time realizing that that's all a process. We're growing in that.
Yeah.
So sometimes we need a little bit of help.
We do.
Called the DOCTOR.
Yeah. Some of us, like myself, will fight that occasion, probably more than occasion, but I'm obviously not the first one that will go to a doctor, and I am seeing a naturopath. So,
definitely.
So it's like, okay, we can do this. We have this all within us. And even though the med beds are, going to eventually be here, we've talked about those before. And that's really, to me, it's more of a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And yes, we are using technology, and that's different than what I term transhumanism. And so I did have somebody ask me, what's transhumanism? And that's really more of a biotic or robotic biological person or being. So there are people that want to go that direction, and on this earth at this time, and so it's up to you if you want to go that way or have total free will.
Yeah, have total free will, and to do it in an evolutionary process, because that's what we're trying to do. The human being is evolving. And so, you have these two different things. In one hand, you have this robotic human that is acting like it's evolved. And on the other hand, you have the human being that truly is evolved in vibration and able to do the same things that this robotic is doing. And so it becomes quite interesting to see how that plays out. Mm-hmm. Both of them supposedly heading in the same direction, but one of them with using all of what we have out at our disposal to raise in vibration, to integrate energies, to change, evolve upward, holding more light, which is something that a robotic falls a bit short on.
Yeah, it's the robotics is using technology,
Yeah.
and unless you want to call light technology, and what is light? Light based to me is high vibrational love, high love vibration. There. Conscious.
Yes.
Yeah, awareness, full awareness,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we're going.
Yes, not a false consciousness.
Yes.
Or a man-made consciousness.
And expanded awareness, going back to what we were talking about earlier about timelines and being conscious of other timelines. And I think that's why many have experienced the Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
And they remember it one way, but then when you look it up, it's changed. You're like, what the heck? That's supposed to be this way. That's the way that movie ran, and now it's different. How did that happen? And so, that still is happening. I think it was happening more a couple of years ago, but either that people are becoming used to it. I don't know. It's not such a big thing anymore.
Yeah, it seems like such a sci-fi idea.
Yeah.
But a lot of these sci-fi movies
are real.
come into being because somebody experienced something like that.
Exactly. So, and more to come on that. So, exciting times, isn't it?
Yes. It's like hold on to the seat of your pants because you never know what's going to come next.
Yeah. But we're creating it.
Yeah.
Even that, it's like, well, wait a minute.
But everybody's got their hand in the pot,
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have all these little variations thrown in there. We're attempting to do it together.
And that's where we're going, is really to become, we are already unity, but, the division.
Coming back together.
There are those that are trying to divide us, yes, and we can see that going on. And that we, one will point the finger at another group, that group will point their finger, and it's like, wait a minute. You start looking at that, say, no, we're in this together, guys.
Yeah, well, you look at how cancer operates. It's growing, it's multiplying, and it's creating some other totally different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's evolving too. But is that what you want in your body? Question.
Mm-hmm. Some people say yeah.
Yep.
Actually.
Yep.
We talked about that the last time.
Yep, that's right.
Or not. Most of us say no.
Yep.
But it's whatever we choose and how we're going to live in this life to experience whatever we want to experience, or call it our higher self or source self wants to experience within the whole of ourselves, which is more than this lifetime.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we're going to leave on that note. Our next episode will be on the 28th of this month, and see what comes up between now and then. And then we tell you some of the stories about those communications with those who have transitioned. So that's pretty interesting. So hang on. Hold on to what's happening right now, and because I think a lot more is going to go down, so to speak. Anyway, all right. If those of you listening, if you want to subscribe to our YouTube, just hit the subscribe button. And if you want notification, then please click on the bell. So we appreciate those that have subscribed. And if you have any questions for us, for either Royce or myself, you can contact us through the phone number and let us know who you want to talk to. But it's 864-999-3008. Also, feel free to leave any comments on our YouTube channel, and we do read those. So appreciate those that have made comments.
Yes, thank you.
So, all right. Anything else you want to say for parting words?
Yes, I would like to speak directly to the people who were affected by the hurricane. Please know that you're not alone. We're here loving you, sending out love every moment of every day. I can feel you. And I'm reaching out my arms to you right now and holding each and every last one of you and giving you a kiss on the cheek. Know that you're not alone. I love you, and I thank you for staying. And those who needed to leave, I embrace you as well. Thank you for the time that you spent here. To all of the beloved animals who aren't with us in the physical anymore, and for those who are but are a little impaired, thank you so much. I love you.
Thank you. She gets pretty emotional, and I can feel it coming right through there, and I think you all can too. We love doing these podcasts, and we love sharing with you all, and it's something that we came here to do. We know it was part of our so-called path that we wanted to do this. So love to you all. We embrace the whole world because you are all beautiful.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.